Oh, I'm getting ripped tonight. R.I.P. that.
YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy Buddha back in the building for another Last Cloudia video. And today you're watching this on a Saturday. Your boy just got his tooth extracted, so I'm probably doped up on the couch right now, not doing much, so I'm filming this ahead of time. But I wanted to call this video out and make sure to make it before the next Q&A session that is happening on the 25th, right? We've still got a little ways to go, literally a week until this drops, but I wanted to bring attention to it earlier rather than later. We do have the floor open to come up with your questions, enter them in early, and then what is really nice is that the players and the Discord members can go through and upvote basically the ones that we want to see the most, so you can get your vote in there. If there are things that you've been wanting to ask, maybe someone already asked it and you can contribute to upvoting it. So Taka-san takes that first 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes to answer these preset questions before he goes into the on-demand question base in the chat. Like me and Tweaks and, well, Crip will be there because he's a mod for the LC Discord. We typically wait until the next day or whenever Barleen jumps in for further clarification, because that's when we tend to get the real answers. But as we spoke in the podcast about it towards the end, it's still a good place, right, to even browse through these questions, see what other players are concerned about or what they have questions on, maybe things you didn't even know of or think about. And it's just a good way to learn more about the game and some of the issues, some of the things that people would like to see moving forward. And that's why I like to make these videos, just to kind of go over what I find is interesting, things that I'd like to see, and just highlight what questions we may get answered. Hopefully. You never know. This time might be different, right? There have been some more questions posted since I last looked at this, but I tend to go through and mark it with my little Buddha symbol right there. Or I shouldn't say Buddha symbol, because the yin-yang symbol is actually not a Buddhism teaching. Just to throw that out there, someone did call me out on that before, but it's a Buddha, B-O-O-D-A symbol, right? Because that's your boy's nickname. So we're going to go through, right? There are a ton of questions, some really good ones. I just try to highlight the ones that I really would like to see the answers to. So those are the ones we're going to review in this video right here. The first one comes from Mahogany. I'm going to not say all of that. From what I recall, there were plans to add more equipment for Crimson Gems shop. Any time frame on when we can expect those? Yes, that was said. I don't remember if it was by Taka-san or Barleen. If I'm remembering correctly, I believe Barleen came through and did say at some point they were planning on adding some more scarlet weapons or scarlet equipment to the Crimson Ore shop, which would be big. It's a necessity at this point. They need to do it, and hopefully we get some nice big damage cap bonuses and extra effects from some of these other potential scarlet weapons. So that is something I really will hope they address. Diwa says, can we have the option of picking our unit of choice featured in the main screen as opposed to the first unit of the party? This is kind of just a QOL thing, right? Sometimes when I am fancying a unit, yes, I would like to just put that one as my home screen unit, regardless of what party I have ended on, depending on the last quest I did. So I would like that feature. It doesn't seem like a big thing that they'd have to do to incorporate that. Then Kabuto Zero comes in here and says, can we go back to the old system and have separate orb counts for events and dungeons, but with each one having 10 right now? With the amount of special dungeons released due to events nowadays, it feels like there is too much to do. I agree. And with how hard to farm some events are, it feels like there's not enough orbs for everything. Couldn't agree more. I didn't even know that was a system at one point, to have separate orbs for your events and dungeons. But with all the training promotions that they do, along with these new limited events, and depending on the grind, the orbs that it takes to get the mission points and do the limited time events enough, I would totally support this decision right here, and I think it would help. You know, even if it's not a natural, I think this, along with just increasing the event orbs altogether, Both of those are solutions to the problem right now because it is an issue. And it feels bad when I can't do my grand gates because I want to put those orbs to the limited time event and vice versa. Mute right here says, tours can be slow and annoying to start and restart. Are there any plans to implement a quick restart option, complete/start all, or otherwise improve the feature? Yes, I would totally support this, right? Something that when I'm done with all my tours, I can hit complete all, get all the rewards. Maybe that won't work so much because of the individual. Well, no, I think that you could just slap all of them on one screen. I don't think it'd be that hard. And then, yes, just to start them all again rather than tap each one individually. So I know whenever I got to do my tour duty, I got to cycle through them 10 times. I mean, it's just one of those little annoyances, a little bit of quality of life that would go a long way, right? It's all in the essence of saving us time so we can get back to actually playing the game. So totally support this one right here. And our dude Bonk we have right here. Would you consider adding the paid equipment of past, present, and future LC units to the Crimson Ore shop? For newer units, their equipment can be added to the shop around a month or two after the banner ends. I don't even care if it's half a year after. Just give us some free-to-play route on getting the equipment. Let people pay to have them in advance, and then give the peons an alternative way to grab them up so it doesn't feel like a scummy little money grab. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to go off too much on that. But yes, please, for the love, I've been asking for this, and I hope that they say something about this. All right, so there have been some really nice questions that I want to highlight since I last looked at this chat. The first one comes from Plax right here. He says, the release of Shift Goroth has been quite underwhelming because a lot of his kit issues. Was this because he was an old unit who was released just now? Also, is it possible to see him buffed in the first round of buffs? Plax, I don't know if you listened to our podcast, but he literally asked a question that we talked about. Goroth seems like he was created in the era of BB Shin, as Tweaks put it. And I would be really interested to see if they address this and either confirm or deny it or say anything at all. Just something that I am actually curious of to see if our suspicions can be confirmed. Mute also had another great question right below. How about adding an option to automatically use arc skills during auto run? When I first read this, I was like, that might be a little too complicated, but I actually don't think it would. I think it could be an easy extra setting in the auto run menu if there was a use arc skill on, right? And then I don't know how much coding it takes for the game to read, you're attempting this stage has this many waves, which wave would you like to select to use the arc skill? Although maybe when it comes to using multiple arc skills, like if you have multiple UR or if you have multiple arcs with skills, that might get a little tricky. But I imagine, they've got some smart people over on their team. I think they could figure it out. At the very least, the ability to set auto run with Beast Hunter and set it so that it always uses it on the final wave or whichever wave you prefer would be huge. That would be huge. That would be a huge QOL update. Duke! Right here, are there any plans to revamp Magic so mages can somewhat be capable of competing with physical DPS-based units? I'm aware that the collab spells are capable of competing in terms of DPS. However, the spells from the main game itself seems to have left behind by the current state of the game. Overall, this is absolutely true. Just a couple thoughts that I have while reading this. One, we did get Rabala, who is absolutely stellar as a non-collab mage. Tweaks proved that in multiple videos that he posted. If you're looking at the big picture, yes, Magic is absolutely far behind in relevance compared to physical DPS. And I can imagine Taka-san saying, we're always looking for ways to improve the different mechanics of the game. Stay tuned, look out for future updates. That's the answer I see for this question right here. But there's always the possibility that maybe it has been brought to the table. Maybe they are really taking it seriously, and we might get some sort of light shed in regards to a real answer here. And finally, I wanted to throw this out there. We talked about it in the podcast last night, but I want to see if it gets any traction. I put here this question: will there ever be a toggle setting for damage numbers displayed on screen? Many of us believe that this would help immensely with frame rate issues on devices. So prime example, Logia's S3, the frame rate killer and game crashing skill. If we could take off the damage numbers, I don't think it's a question that it would help so many people with devices that already struggle in the frame rate area. Just simply taking the million damage numbers flying across the screen is bound to help in some way, shape, or form. Whether it gives 5, 10, 30 extra frames to you, it would still be an immense improvement compared to what we're dealing with now. So I really hope that they do address this. We'll see if I get some upvotes here. This is something that has been talked about for a while. Someone did say they thought Barlene mentioned that it was going to be a thing. I don't ever remember reading Barlene talking about it, so I hope that is true, and hopefully they address it in this Q&A. And there it is. That's all we have so far. Like I said, we've got a week to put in your questions before the Q&A begins. I don't actually know. I think they shut it down. Yeah. So on the 24th at 8 p.m. PST, so that's 11 p.m. EST, they will close the room so you can no longer type your questions. So make sure to get your questions in here between now and the 24th. So that we can hopefully get some clarification on a lot of these issues that we are still facing. They've come such a long way, and I am in no way trying to say that, they're not doing their job, they're not doing anything right, because they definitely are. Last Cloud is in a great state right now, and I just hope it keeps getting better. Hope people keep trying the game out, keep loving it, falling in love, and sticking around so we can all enjoy it together. And I think that's all I got for you this time. So I'll see you when I'm recovered. And y'all know what we say: work hard, play harder. See you in the next video.